Hey, it's Greg Milby, Community Storyteller for Kentucky's Heartland, and I am joined by Daniel London, the Deputy Judge Executive for Hardin County. Daniel, you would think I would get your name right as much as
One
I've
would think
talked to
so,
you.
but hey, at least you weren't like Wave 3 and changed my name to Daniel Leonard. So good.
Oh, well, maybe I'll change that on the graphic on the screen. Maybe that'll be the new thing. First of all, welcome to 2022. I've already seen you a couple of times, but I guess we'll make it look like it's a show
Sure,
where,
we can do
hey,
that.
welcome to a new year, the 20th day of January as we record this today. And I just want to kind of get an update with the county and just talk about some things that happened in
Sure, sure.
2021 and what we're looking for in 2022. So, Daniel, if you were grading yourself or you were grading the county in 2021, what kind of grade would you give the county for how things went?
Yeah, I think based on the challenges, particularly COVID that we endured, and some of the transition that has occurred with county government, talking about personnel transition and so on, I would legitimately give us a B plus. And the reason I'm not rating that as an A is that I never rate myself as an A because I think we can always do better. But we did quite well given the challenges that we have faced. Again, particularly on the COVID front, I think all of us think once we hit the new year and see the ball drop that we're going to have COVID behind us, and here we are going on year three. That's not the case, and that's continued to cause us problems on the personnel front and the equipment front as well. So until we get past that, we are not going to be fully healed, so to speak.
And let's talk about that too, because I know you are dealing with some staffing shortages now. Because even when you come up with a plan for COVID, then you get this new variant that comes through, and it's caused a lot of issues, especially here during the winter weather season for you guys.
It has. You know, we when this all first started, we created emergency plans for each one of our departments, and I'll be honest. You know, we got complacent and thought, like everyone else, we were past this, and what we didn't see coming or really plan for is 4 inch, 4 to 6 inches of snow and no snowplow drivers. So I'll take that one first of all because that has been our most recent challenge. I think everyone is aware that as a result of supply chain issues attributed to COVID, there's been a chip shortage. We have had budgetary constraints, obviously, throughout county government, particularly the road department, that have been easing the last 2 years because of some business deals we've been able to put together. And as a result of that, we are getting all of our equipment replaced. And we were down to getting our 20-year-old dump trucks, some of them older than that actually, replaced. And I never knew this, never really wanted to know it, but each dump truck takes 8 chips. And so as a result of 48 chips not being able to be obtained, we are now a year down the road from ordering 6 dump trucks, and we still don't have them. So place that in a circumstance where we have a significant snow increase or forecast, combined with the fact that I lost half my staff due to COVID. We were really in a bind with this last snow prediction. Thank goodness it didn't pan out. But it turned into a good news story and showing how giving and caring our community is, because we had numerous volunteers willing to get into a snowplow and go out and clear the streets. So we averted a significant challenge there, but it certainly has had an impact.
So, what do you do moving forward? And I know some of our weather folks are predicting maybe even a couple more of these weather events before we're out of this deal. What do you do? I mean, are the plows? I know you've got trucks that need to be replaced, but are they operational, or are you short on the trucks? I mean, what are we
Yeah.
looking like when it comes to that?
So the dump trucks in particular, and why they're important, is the weight of those. So many of our trucks are Ford 550s, for example, and so they're a heavy duty pickup truck. Is really what they are, and we have snow plows on them. But when you're using them, obviously the weight comp between those trucks and a dump truck is significantly different. And so they do not do as good of a job in getting the snow off the road as a dump truck. Our dump trucks are largely out of commission, again, citing COVID, not able to get parts. They have been in bad condition for some time. And so it doesn't make sense to spend money on something that we are going to surplus when we have new ones on the way, particularly when they were already supposed to be here. So obviously that we haven't had the seamless transition that we would like to see in the calendar. So what that has led us to is using smaller vehicles for all of our snow plowing. And while they do a decent job, they don't do a great job, and that leads to some challenges in not getting the snow more efficiently removed as we'd like to see. Traditionally, we use those dump trucks on our through roads, particularly to get those clear, because again, the weight really makes a significant difference, and that's where we see the largest accidents. Largest number of accidents are on those through roads. So it's important to get those clean. And so we're doing the best job that we possibly can under the circumstances. And I know that's frustrating to the public. And I've had some communications with some folks regarding that. And I apologize, but we expected and were promised delivery of the dump trucks by November. And then that slipped to January, and usually we get our snow in February, so we thought we were still good, but even that hasn't panned out, and at this point, it may be spring before we actually get them. So we're gonna have to slog through this winter event with what we have.
All right, so we'll limp through that. So one of the other discussions that I'm sure you get a lot, it probably gives you a break from talking about snow trucks and work staff shortages, is garbage. I know there is a lot of discussion on garbage services.
Yes.
What have you been able to do, and what has the county been able to do to fix some of the issues that citizens are having with garbage pickup?
Sure, and it's unfortunate because we are almost 3 years into an 8-year contract with Red River, and what I most often hear is, why in the world would you give them an 8-year contract and have the problems that you're having? And so I want to touch on that first before I actually answer your question. Red River has been in the county since 2014, and most people didn't really even know the name of the company until we signed the new contract and began having problems, because we had virtually no challenges or issues with Red River in the county for pickup. I'll remind folks, when we did the new contract, it was just as COVID was starting. Now, I'm not going to defend decisions by Red River, because frankly, I think they've made some bad decisions to put them where they're at. However, obviously, COVID has contributed to that to some degree. When we awarded this contract, the best pricing was based on an 8-year commitment, because obviously they could spread their cost out. We had two bids. Both companies wanted an 8-year commitment. And so we went with that, and Red River was $2 cheaper than the other contractor. And again, we only received one competing bid to Red River. That company wanted a $50 fee for every bulk pickup, and then additional charges for carts, versus Red River, again, being $2 less than them, free bulk pickup, and 2 free garbage carts. So the value proposition compared to their previous service made no case for change whatsoever. Now, we find ourselves in a situation to where it's a mix of bad decisions by the company and COVID. Just as we've faced personnel challenges in COVID, you can only imagine, it's hard to show up at a recruiting fair and say, hey, I need you to come pick up garbage. That's not exactly what people want to do in this day and time, when you can go work at a convenience store that's much cleaner situation, and probably make just as much money or close enough. So they face challenges there. They have faced equipment shortages just as we have. But I have to say, in those decisions, those complications, as well as some decisions they've made, particularly in other markets, not here, has pushed them into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is a corporate restructure. I have to say, since then, they have actually served the county better than they had prior to bankruptcy. So now they have some of the creditor pressure off of them by rulings of the bankruptcy judge. They're able to get things at more fair market value and get some relief. So we're actually seeing better now. I think they've made some poor decisions in how they've responded in the snow. Again, we can armchair, just as people can armchair quarterback us. It's not always fair or reality. We can do the same to them. I think they're doing the best they can, but it has gotten better, and I believe we're headed toward a situation to where the bankruptcy judge will put the contract in a company's hands that we will no longer have issues. We've hired a bankruptcy attorney to monitor this for us and to be a party to it, to make sure that the county taxpayers are treated fairly, and so we're monitoring that situation to see where we're at. But right now, I'm satisfied. I'm not elated, but I am satisfied with the performance.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that information and update. I know that's just the path of information makes it a difference,
Yeah,
just to kind of
absolutely.
know what you're dealing with and
Yes.
how we can react. Because sometimes as a taxpayer, you kind of feel, you feel at loss, like you're out on an island all by yourself
You
because you
do.
don't have all the information. And I think information is
Absolutely.
power and is key. So thanks for
I
sharing
agree.
that.
I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would urge everyone, if you're having trouble with pickup, please call our solid waste department here and speak to Stephanie Gibbons. And one thing we'll probably talk about, Greg, is we have a new service, Text My Gov. So you can do that, 91896. You can text a picture, you can text your address and say, hey, I'm having problems with my pickup. That goes directly to Stephanie, and we'll get it solved.
Okay. So a text my gov is what it
My
is.
God.
And information's
Yes.
on the screen. We'll have all that for everybody. So that's a key thing too, is just being able to get the information you need. If you don't know there's a problem, then there's not a
I
problem.
can't fix
Correct.
it. All right. Yeah, right. I can only fix what I know about.
There you go. All right. So staff shortages, plows we've talked about. We've talked about garbage. Let's talk about the other, probably depending on the day, where it is on the level of things you get calls about. What's up with the birds on Ring Road?
Well, contrary to popular belief, no one from county government was target practicing. I've heard that rumor. That is not the case. There are a lot of good shots in this building, but I don't think any of us are that good, to include the sheriff's department. There also a conspiracy theory that is all the hot air coming out of this building they flew into. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spread that. I
yeah.
apologize.
Well, I wasn't going to point any fingers, but I don't know. It's a mystery. Now we have quite a few birds flying around this building. Thank God they're not vultures. But we get that pretty often with the cell tower here. So it was much to our surprise as well. Unfortunately, I didn't know about it in time that we could have. I would like to have been able to send our county vet up there to collect a couple of them and maybe take a look, but we didn't know about it in time for that to happen. But there's certainly, everyone has an idea of what happened.
And I will say this. I don't know who wrote it for Nolan. I would guess it would be Sarah Fellows, but their response on social media and laying it all out there and how they were not electrocuted from law. It was great. It was
It was.
well
Whoever
written.
did that, A+, absolutely. And that looked like some of Sarah's spectacular work. So
Yeah.
it was awesome.
So what do we do with that? We just let it as it was just a rare phenomenon that we don't have an answer to, and we let it go at that. Is that pretty much how we handle that?
Yeah, I think so. And from what I've heard, there's some folks, some eyewitnesses said they were flying erratically, and some vehicles hit some of them, and so I think it's just going to remain a mystery to see what happens. But hopefully, the next time, I've certainly put our animal shelter, animal care and control on notice that if we get word of this happening, and hopefully someone will report it to us, that we can get our vet up there and again collect a couple of them, see if we can do some testing, see what happened.
Okay, well, you're 2 for 3. You give me 2 good answers, and
I'm
that one
trying.
really wasn't that good. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
rate you low on that one.
It's not
So
it's not the breaking news that you hope for.
yeah. So one final question, because I mentioned it at the very beginning. Talk about 2022. Where do you see the county in 2022, and at the end of this year, what are you hoping to have accomplished this year?
Sure. Well, we're off to a great start. We've had a good fiscal year so far, and I alluded to this a little bit in some of the business deals that we've been able to put together. So last fiscal year, which ended the end of June last year, we paid more miles of roads than we have in the history of Hardin County. We're going to get to do that again this year, I think, in setting a record, and largely because of the landfill deal that you and I have talked about before, that we were able to make to increase revenue to Hardin County government and offload some liability and cost avoidance. And so we are looking to, Judge Berry put an extra $1 million in the road department budget this year to pave more roads. And I think we're going to be able to do another million or two, and possibly more depending on the ARPA funds. So we are making some great headway with our roads, which has been a big issue for the last several years, and frankly, a big problem. So I'm excited about that possibility. Obviously, we have some great economic news occurring in the county. Ford is looking to start turning dirt in the spring, possibly as early as March. So we're going to start seeing that rise up from the ground. We don't yet know what impacts that's going to be to county government, so to speak, in terms of what we need to do to facilitate that and make it a success. So that's going to be both a challenge and a blessing ahead as we see that. And one of the things that you're probably not thinking that I'll bring up, I want to say, because I've talked about this publicly, obviously the use of solar is a big issue right now in the community, and there has been a push to have a solar moratorium passed by fiscal court, which has not occurred or been taken up. And our statement and my public stance has been, we have a process in place that's working. And as you know, there was a marathon hearing this week, Tuesday night, 7.5 hours, I believe it was. And the commission said no to another solar project. So I think that's proof that A, the process is working, and B, I want to convey people's voice is being heard in this debate, and is a signature that that is taken seriously. And so I think there is certainly some solace and some positives to be taken away from that. Now, I will continue to say this community is now at the tip of the spear, to use an Army term, of the new economy, and there has to be some solar presence here. But I think it's critically important that the community participate in that process as they have, to determine how much and where that is located. And so far, I'm elated at how the process is playing out.
Okay, wow. I was going to use that for another video down the road, because I know that is.
Well, we can still do that.
It's still, because I know it is. I don't want to say it's early in the game, because it's not. But we are in the midst of the game. But I think we're watching the early parts of the game play out.
It's early inning.
And so, but thanks for addressing that, because I know that has been discussed quite a bit. And as far as Ford goes, and if people have not driven through Glendale, that area, we've all driven through there. But until you drive through there and in your mind consciously think from the interstate all the way to the train tracks, you do not get a concept of how big that mega site and how big that plant is going to be. It is.
And as a reminder, it's going to be 2 plants when it's all said and done. And it was conveyed to our engineering department. It's not really breaking news, but it hasn't been publicized. The walls of that plant are going to be 100 feet tall. So that's going to be Hardin County's first skyscraper. Because that's going to make it the largest building in Hardin County by all means. So it's going to be a large presence, and it's going to be a statement maker in a lot of ways. Now,
as far as the infrastructure around there, the Ring Road connector and that kind of stuff, I know that's on the plan. As far as the county goes, have they seen that project moved up the list of importance, or is it still kind of just sitting out there waiting for funding and getting it together?
Sure. There's a regional committee that's associated with the area development district that rate these projects on a regional level. It was the number 3 project in priority that went to the General Assembly last year out of 5. It got moved up in priority. I believe it was number 1 going into this one, if I remember correctly. There's no way that doesn't happen at this point. It has to happen because you're going to see obviously a lot of, and that's part of the reason that they located here, a lot of nesting, if you will, of efforts with what we have in the industrial park and what we will have in the industrial park. Matazza, for example, is supplying the frames for Ford trucks. Again, part of the reason that they located here, they need that coordination and nesting with Matazza. So there's going to be a lot of product movement back and forth, and so that project has to happen. So I am incredibly confident that will be completed prior to their opening.
Good stuff. Well,
And
Daniel.
obviously the
Mhm.
intersection in Glendale is going to be reworked as well, which is going to be a significant project. So I believe that is in the process of being let this month. So you may very well see that construction starting. Well, actually, should see it start this year.
Well, a lot of information, Daniel. I appreciate the time.
No,
I
thank you
know
for the time. I appreciate it.
as we're on the backside of potentially, there was all kinds of weather issues today. So I appreciate you putting us on the calendar and pushing this
Absolutely.
through. A lot of information, and I appreciate you being transparent about it, because some of that's
Anytime.
not easy information to share. And I
It's
appreciate
not.
you sharing it in a way that
And
was there.
I'll remind you what I tell everyone: always be honest with you, whether it helps me or hurts me. There's no other way to be.
All right, good deal. He's Daniel London, Deputy Judge Executive, Hardin County, not Daniel Leonard.
That's right.
We'll get that right here, because
I've been
that's
called
how we
worse.
try to
So
roll. All right, Daniel, appreciate the time, and
thanks, Brad.
thanks for all you do.
Thank you, brother.
Hi, Daniel London, Deputy Judge Executive of Hardin County. I'm Greg Milby, Community Storyteller, and this is Kentucky's Heartland.